Welcome back. My name is Matt Atchity. That's Christy Lemire. That's Alonso Duralde. There are some new movies coming out on home video this week, both as physical media that you can actually buy and hold and keep for your very own, or
it won't disappear from your system.
Exactly, or some stuff you can stream. We have particular recommendations of things that you may have missed and may want to see this week, or pick up, or stream, because you may have heard about them at some of the award shows. So I'm going to let my colleagues go first. In fact, ladies first.
I will go.
Christy Lemire, what is your recommendation for this week?
As a lady, I'm going to pick Lady Bird, which sadly won nothing at the Academy Awards last night. Although it's thrilling that Greta Gerwig was nominated for Best Director, only the 5th woman ever to be nominated for Best Director at the Oscars, so just her being there is great. And her screenplay was nominated, Saoirse Ronan was nominated, so it got nothing, but it did get Best Screenplay at the Spirit Awards, the Oscars of Independent Film, the previous day, so there you go. It's great. Many top 10 lists, including mine. Was it on your top 10
It was
list?
on mine.
On Alonso's as well, not Matt's.
I don't do a top 10 list.
But if you did,
if I did,
maybe
sure.
Lady Bird would be on there.
Sure.
So we reviewed it, so go and find our full
Right.
review. With probably a link to it there or there.
Or somewhere.
Somewhere.
It's a terrific film.
It's good. And Saoirse Ronan stars as a teenager growing up in very mundane suburbia in Sacramento. She's trying to figure out who she is and what is her place in the world. That includes insisting that everybody call her Lady Bird when her real name is Christine, and she has these dreams of going to New York and being with the intellectuals and the poets and the writers and the dreamers and people doing substantive things with their lives. And her mom, played by Laurie Metcalf, who is so great. They clash, as teenage girls and their moms tend to do, and it's somehow autobiographical for Greta Gerwig, and it feels very, very true, and the characters and the dialogue all feel very true. So if you've not already seen Lady Bird, go do it.
It's also the other Oscar-nominated movie that Timothy Chalamet was in.
It has
That's
young
right.
Timothée Chalamet, yes. He's in that and Call Me By Your Name.
Yes.
So, Alonso, what is your pick for this week?
Mine is also one of the Sacramento movies of last year. Mike White's Brad's Status, which sadly was overlooked at both the Film Independent Spirit Awards and the Academy Awards, but it was on my top 10 list. One of the best screenplays of last year, I think. Ben Stiller stars as a man in Sacramento who runs a nonprofit, and his son is about to go to college, and as they take off to go look at universities, Brad starts kind of measuring his own life versus his friends from college and how they've succeeded and what they've achieved and how much money they've made. And he starts questioning all of his life choices and wondering about if he's done the right thing by himself and by his family. Super smart movie, really funny, one of the great Ben Stiller performances, and features one of my two favorite underappreciated scores of last year, both by Mark Mothersbaugh for this film and for Thor Ragnarok. It is a dynamite movie. It's now available on Amazon Prime, and I very highly recommend it. It didn't get a lot of traction in the fall when all the awards movies were coming out, so if you missed it before, check it out now. Again, we did review it previously if you want more information about it, but great cast, including Jenna Fisher and Owen Wilson and Jermaine Clement and
No, but it was Luke Wilson, not Owen Wilson.
Oh, sorry, Luke Wilson
Andrew.
and why am I blanking on Coogan, the Trip guy, you know. British. Steve Coogan, thank you. Anyway, it's really good. You should see it. Yeah. And P.S., you've heard me rave about Faces Places. It, too, is now available.
Brad's Status, I think, was what I kind of wanted out of...
the Meyerowitz stories?
No, well, actually...
I think that's a good double feature, by the way.
Yeah, what I wanted Brad's Status... It did what I kind of wanted Walter Mitty to do. I think Brad's Status is a much better movie, especially because the internal monologue that goes on is riveting, and then it couples so well. I'm glad you brought up that score, because that score is this kind of light, seemingly light piano music, and then it goes
the tense violin,
and then it goes off key in this really kind of disturbing and off-putting way that really makes that movie work.
It keeps you on edge the whole way through.
But it's funny.
Yes, it's very good. Speaking of funny movies with Mark Mothersbaugh scores, you mentioned it before. The other movie that's out this week is Thor Ragnarok. Far and away the best Thor movie so far, which is
Damning with faint praise.
Right, that bar was set low. This movie's terrific. It's directed by Taika Waititi, who directed one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years, What We Do in the Shadows. Thor this is kind of the story about what was happening with both him and the Hulk while the events of Civil War was happening. He's kind of across the galaxy, loses his hammer, ends up in this gladiatorial combat with the Hulk, trying to get back to Asgard. They're taking on the evil Hela, who turns out to be his sister, and Loki's sister, played by the terrific Cate Blanchett, who
tearing it up,
chewing the scenery like crazy in this movie, clearly having the time of her life. And this movie is infectiously fun, very, very funny. Love that these cosmic stories that they're kind of doing in the Marvel Universe are just so kind of bonkers that you're not stuck with some of the stuff that's going on in the rest of the serious kind of planet Earth stories. And I think that gives them a lightness here that's really a lot of fun. This one absolutely is a must-see if you were born in a cave and missed it this time.
Maybe your kids were too young to see it before. Now they can see it. It's really silly and really playful, and it's easy to take for granted or to forget how funny Chris Hemsworth is.
Yes.
Because he's gorgeous, right? He's hulking and beautiful, and but he's also really funny. He's got like a playful way about him and he's got good timing. And also Tessa Thompson is in this.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a badass.
Right.
And Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Being Jeff Goldblum, essentially.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum has turned himself up to 13 in this movie. He's so out there. And then great kind of voice cameo by Taika Waititi as, what was the character? Purge, I think. About the line about the pamphlets was particularly funny.
Chris Hemsworth is becoming our Marilyn Monroe, as far as like dumb blondes who like outwardly just project this sort of like sex symbol image, but are completely aware of what they're doing and have a really great sense of humor.
Yes.
Yeah, so I liked that one a lot. So our recommendations are Thor Ragnarok and
Brad
Status and Lady Bird, all of which are available on various platforms.
Actually, I think Brad Status might not be on a Blu-ray or DVD because that's what Amazon's doing now. They didn't put Wonderstruck out either. They're like, we're streaming it and that's it. So
interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. But Faces Places is out on tangible media as well as streaming.
Yeah, Faces Places, I was hoping that was going to get a little bit more of the Oscars, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes, we have thoughts.
Yeah, it's interesting because as we're coming off the weekend of the Oscars, one of the things that I hear, and you guys probably hear this too, because we do a fair amount of press, people are like, why is there such a disconnect between the movies that get Oscar nominations and the movies that the audiences see? And I think if you look at the releases of what's coming out now, that's why. It's that the Oscars have tilted into, for the last few years, movies get this second life. Like, I guarantee you there's going to be people who, I didn't see Shape of Water, but Best Picture winner, I guess I'll go see it.
Right, but now they'll watch it at home instead of in the
theater. Where
theater.
they should not see it.
Well, true, but it's at least that they see it as opposed to they never went and saw it at all in the first place.
Right,
we can talk about that.
Well,
right. Right, we're going to talk about that.